All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.
What's going on, everybody? We're here. Break down some offensive coordinator candidates. Eagles are interviewing a number of candidates here. It's about a week and a half into the search. We're here on a Friday night to discuss it all. Not much going on in terms of offseason, but this is something, of course, it's still ongoing. So, let's get it started. Matt, I have a question for you to start off. Here.
Let's do it.
Do you want, in terms of the coordinator search, what are the parameters that you want? Do you want somebody who has called plays before, or are you okay with somebody, a young mind coming in?
Yeah.
As I have the picture there. So the picture on the screen, of course, is Declan Doyle, who is the offensive coordinator of the Bears, but he does not call plays. He sets the game plans and everything along the lines of that. He's worked with Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints and Denver Broncos. So,
yeah. Well, and so here's my feeling on this. I'm back and forth, right? Because part of me doesn't want to deal with the pains of a first-time play caller, right? Like we experienced with Grow, like we experienced with Brian Johnson, like we experienced with Kevin Patullo. Sorry to give everybody PTSD. But the problem with those three hires is that they had no real experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like they had zero experience playing calls or calling plays or sequencing or game planning. Like they really were not heavily involved in that process at all. And they weren't all that highly regarded, to be honest. Like I had never heard of Grow or Press Taylor or any of those guys other than how much, Doug Peterson or, with Brian Johnson, how much Jalen Hurts thought of him. Right. But there was nothing in league circles saying, hey, this guy's legit. He's worked on this staff and this staff. He comes from this tree. He does sequencing. He could, yada, yada, yada. So like in that regard, I'm very much, do not give me a first time play caller. I don't want to deal with this again. We don't have time to deal with that again. We have a volatile situation with A.J. Brown where I feel like a lot of how this goes is going to be dependent on who we selected our offensive coordinator. I strongly believe that. But the more I dig in on Declan, the more I like it. Right, because he comes very highly regarded from two of the best offensive minds in the NFL right now, in Sean Payton and Ben Johnson. He was heavily involved in game planning, and I've even heard that he was involved with the sequencing and game flow during games, specifically under Ben Johnson. So like that is intriguing to me. He is intriguing to me. There are a lot of pros to him. He is also young. He's 29. Like, how is he going to handle someone who's also 29, like A.J. Brown? Or veterans that are older than him, like a Lane Johnson or a, I don't know who else, but so like I think he's the only one of the first-time play callers that I would be open to, because of the pedigree and the regard he has by two of the best offensive minds. Like Peyton brought him with him, Ben Johnson brought him with him. Like they obviously love this dude. I would love to find the next McVay. That being said, I would prefer a guy like a Kingsbury, like a Joe Brady, like a Brian Dable that has done it before in college and the pros, and has done it at a high level.
So, of course, you named a few guys there. So now the Eagles have interviewed the likes of Mike Kafka, Matt Nagy, of course, Dable. Of course, there's guys that are off the board in terms of Mike McDaniel, which he's the offensive coordinator, was with the Chargers, but he's interviewing for the job at the Buffalo Bills. Of course, you have Declan Doyle, who they requested and was not blocked, so he will be interviewing. Bobby Slowick interviewed today, I believe.
He's intriguing. Yeah.
Now, taking a look at it, like if I had to put my top 5 choices of who I would like, my 5 guys.
In no particular order or like 1 to 5?
I'll go 1 to 5. Basically in the order that I would like.
Okay.
So to me, number 5 would be Brian Dable. Number 4 would be Doyle. Number 3 would be Slowick.
Okay.
2 would be Joe Brady, and 1 would be Kingsbury. Now, of course, Kingsbury and Brady, there's no talk of them. Like, to me,
anything about Kingsbury, which is the weird part.
Haven't heard anything about it at all. So to me, that kind of worries me. I know him and Dan Quinn didn't see eye to eye at the end of it and everything. So, that is very interesting. But again, for all the time missed, your quarterback was missed, your receivers, your tight end got hurt, the running game was a rookie, and Eckler got hurt, rookie and a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And you made chicken salad out of chicken shit a lot of the time when you looked at what they had to go with. So I would like to see a Kingsbury or even a Joe Brady or along the lines of that. Slowick is intriguing because he comes from, of course, the Shanahan tree, and I know Stroud had a good year, but Stroud struggled without him. I know there was some talk about how Slowick didn't really adjust throughout the season, and that's the reason that he was let go from Houston. Again, there could be a number of things there. Again,
offensive line,
also the person who he was working with in terms of the quarterback. So there's a lot that goes into play there. But to me, those are like the 5 guys. Like Dable and Kafka right at the end. Like Kafka would be an underwhelming hire, I would say, but he's done it before. Yeah. And it's not like you got a guy that's, fresh and doesn't know what he's doing. He's done it before. He's been in multiple situations. So like to me, and he played in the NFL, quarterback in the NFL. So like he's been there, he knows. So to me, it wouldn't be too bad. I don't want a Matt Nagy. I don't.
No.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now, if you were to hire a Declan Doyle and then you hire a Matt Nagy as like a pass game coordinator, as like a veteran voice, I'm well okay with that. That's totally fine. Yeah. But I don't want that to be the offensive coordinator hire. I think that would be such an underwhelming hire. I think that would be.
I agree that it would be underwhelming, but like, so was Kellen Moore at the time. And Frank Reich for all intents and purposes. Like, none of us really knew who Steichen was when he was hired. And so, like, yes, it would be underwhelming, but like the other way I'm looking at this is that literally anyone that you put in that role is going to be better than KP. Literally anyone. Like, you can't get worse. You can only get better.
I hope not.
Honestly, you could put Brian Johnson in there as your offensive coordinator, and it would be markedly better. Like, our offense was amazing in 23. It was the defense that sucked. So
Michael's coming up here with a couple of things here. Declan's 29 years old. That to me tells me Sirianni thinks he will be able to get involved. I'm not too sure. That's with that, but then he had another one here. The offense ran good under Steichen with the veteran OCs when Moore. I guess not more he meant to say there. Now Brian Johnson, Patua's offense ran horribly. And I think a lot of Brian Johnson was Nick Sirianni, not Brian Johnson.
I agree.
I think the big thing is when you take a look at – so if you go watch the first portion of 2021 when Nick first came in and he's calling the plays and you kind of look at 2023 and you look at last year, there's a lot of similarities in the way the offense is run. It's this Nick Sirianni offense, which there needs to be some evolving and you can't fit a round
square peg in a round hole.
Yeah. You can't do it. You got to be able to adjust in kind of what you have. And I just think I would like to see somebody come in that has a little bit of creativity, being able to scheme guys open, being able to do. Now, again, your quarterback has to be able to be willing to do that too. And again, but if you have somebody in there that's able to, like to me, I think it's something along the effects of the quarterback believes in the play caller, believes in what the guys like. To me, I think a lot of the offense too was, did they really believe in what was being called by Patullo and how it was set up and how things were run? Because
that's the thing.
Again, and that's a major thing. Like when you take a look at whatever it may be, whether you're at your job or whatever it is, and someone who is giving you the orders, and you're like, this guy isn't qualified to tell me what to do. Like, does he really know what he's doing? And like, I'm not saying that's what went on, but to me, that's kind of like the aspect of it. Like,
I mean, look at the comments you heard in the press from AJ. Look at the comments you heard in the press from Jalen Hurts. Look at that video that they showed of him getting that last play call on 4th and 11 with your season on the line.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like he just like there was a lack of faith. And when you have a lack of faith in what's being called, it's hard to perform. Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to execute. And I think that goes from the offensive line. Like there were a couple times, and again, I don't know if this is Stout or if this is something that comes from Patullo, but I would assume a lot of it has to do with Stout because he's a run game coordinator. But they were asked to make some ridiculous blocks, like reach blocks across the formation for a guy like Tyler Steen, who's not like a slob by any means, but he's not Jason Kelsey. Like he's not going to make it out there with a 1 second 10-yard split. You know what I mean? Sorry, my battery's dying here. So there's things like that need to be addressed, and I think that I don't know. I think that has a lot to do with the mentality of the offensive line. They were like, dude, we can't make this block, or like, this is stupid, or I'm hurt and they should know that we shouldn't be going inside. We should be getting in space. Like, I think there was a lot of calling plays to limitations rather than strengths.
So another thing too,
it was that round, square peg in a round hole. Is that the exact thing?
I was listening, someone brought something up, which was kind of interesting to think about it, is, towards the end of the year, how Sirianni was getting more involved in offensive meetings and offensive, like getting really heavily involved. Does that take away on some of the details that usually he is somewhat good at? When you take a look at when you're taking yourself away to, do something that you're focusing on someone else. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I think it's a good point. Like Sirianni taking all that time to then not be as intricate as maybe he should be. And again, that's the type of coach he is. And all coaches struggle with certain things, but I just think it was just being able to just promote from within, I think was not something. And again, I don't believe that it's going to happen again anytime soon. From the offensive side of the ball, I'm looking at there. I think too is when you look at who they hire, is it a potential one and done, and he gets hired somewhere else if they succeed, if they have a good offense, or is it a guy that maybe could stay for a couple of years, depending on the availability or the openings that happen? Now, I do like looking at the openings that I would think basically coaches that are on the hot seat. There may be a handful, but there was 10 this year. So you could see a couple here and there. But I'm just trying to think of some type of guys who would maybe be able to stick around for more than 1 year, a couple of years. Now, Doyle, if they succeed and they do really well, I think he's gone.
I think whoever gets in there and succeeds is gone. Like that's just the nature of
Matt Nagy.
Well, yeah, unless you get someone like him or like
I'm just saying, like someone like that, you may be able to essentially keep for 2 to 3 years, or maybe even more than that.
And that's the funny part, is that I hear people saying like, "Oh, it's not an attractive job because there's so much pressure to succeed." I'm like, sure, but not like 90% of the guys who get that job, or 50% of the guys who have had that job in the last 4 years, have gotten head coaching gigs.
Yeah.
Like, and that's only on the offensive side. You can throw Gannon in there as well. He got a head coaching gig. You know, Steichen, head coach. Reich, head coach. Gannon, head coach. Like Kellen Moore, head coach. Like I get the fact that it's a tough place to coach from a media perspective, from an expectations perspective. The front office and the owner have extremely high expectations. The fans have extremely high expectations. The players have extremely high expectations. But if you're not in the business of competing to be the best with the highest of expectations, then you're probably not in the right league, man. Like I don't get this notion that people don't want this gig because it's too hard.
Yeah. Those are
the people that I don't want here. Like McDaniels would have been eaten alive, if we're being honest. Like I think he would have quit with these, like the press conferences. But a guy like Dable, like he'd be perfect.
Yeah. Which Jeremy Fowler did say the Eagles, I think it was Jeremy Fowler, said the Eagles, they're not out on Dable. It's still a possibility.
He said he hasn't heard anything, but he would be shocked if they didn't interview him, basically, is like what they said.
So again, there's a lot of potential candidates here. To me, I think by the time we have our next show here, I think they're going to have somebody named. We're going to have an offensive coordinator to talk about
last week.
And I say it every week. It's eventually going to happen.
Eventually you'll get it right. One of I did want to touch on one thing you said about like Sirianni getting involved, and maybe that led to some, lapses in execution. But like, I was thinking about that as you were saying it, and one of the biggest problems we had on this team, and we talked about it ad nauseum throughout the season, was there were two things. One, the play call came in with 3 seconds, or at least we broke the huddle with like 3 to 5 seconds left on the clock. That's a big issue, and I wonder how much of that has to do with Sirianni like having to approve a play call, or Patullo just not knowing what the hell he wanted to call and like not being prepared, right? Like I wonder how much of it had to do with that. And then the other thing is the other issue that we talked about again ad nauseum throughout the season were the penalties.
Yeah.
And the inability to focus and the little stuff. And when you said, maybe Sirianni getting involved more in the offense, he wasn't as focused on the group as a whole and working on the little things and the fundamentals. We remember that this was like day one. Like the game hadn't even started and Carter got thrown out of the game.
Yeah.
Right. And so like it started literally before the first whistle even happened. This team was undisciplined. So I just wanted to touch on that and say that I don't think Sirianni being more involved, caused a lack of concentration or execution. Like I just think this team was not mentally prepared for this season. And that's on the head coach. I 100%, I put a lot of this on the head coach for A, making the hire, B, not having his team prepared. And we talked about it, I think, right before we jumped on, but their mentality of, we won the Super Bowl, but we don't care. Right? They kind of leaned into that, like, that was last year.
It was like uber focused of let's not think about the Super Bowl, let's not have fun nonstop. That's last year. We don't talk about that. It's the new year. Right. We're not talking. I get you can say that. That's fine. But they dialed in on that. It was just nonstop.
You know what's funny? That's the same exact thing that happened in 23. Do you remember them talking about that? And a lot of it was Jalen too. But I don't know if you recall, we went to the Super Bowl. 22 was one of the most fun seasons I had in a long time. 22 was great.
Since 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, still, that was 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you.
Time. And you get to the 22 season, you're having a blast. They're dancing, they're celebrating, and then they lose in dramatic, heartbreaking fashion. And then in 23, they were so focused on not losing again. They were so focused on winning the Super Bowl that they forgot to have fun. They were not loose. Like, you could tell that everybody was really stressed when they lost the game, or is this going to be sustainable? Like, you could tell that the team was just like tense. And we saw that again this year.
Well, this year, everyone kept harping, oh, this is 23 all over again, 23 all over again. You kept, towards the end of the year, that's just, after that losing streak, it was just nonstop. That's just what you get pummeled with. That's what it was. That's what it was.
A big hit happens, and you saw it occasionally, but you didn't see this, right? Like you did in 24. You didn't see the like team celebrations, the dancing with the offensive linemen. Like you didn't see that as much this year. And I think that's a big,
because they weren't good enough to do it. They weren't running the ball well. They weren't doing a lot of things well.
But I think a lot of that was being so focused and worried about failing that they forgot to just execute.
Well, that's a main thing. You know? Everyone, like, when they talk about, why is the running game not working? Why is this? Why? And everyone kept saying it's the execution. We're not executing. It's just we're not doing what we need to do. It's not. Yeah. And when you harp in and super focus on trying to execute and not playing and doing
playing loose.
Stuff like that happens. So it's going to be interesting. Now, I do want to bring up the Eagles did lose an assistant coach, DB's coach and pass game coordinator, Christian Parker, did leave.
That's a good get by Dallas.
Yeah. An up and coming coach. He is now the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. Like, to me, it says two things. One, of course, and we knew it, he is a very highly sought defensive backs assistant coach in this league. And eventually he was going to leave to be a defensive coordinator somewhere else. And he's going to most likely he succeeds at defensive coordinator. He's going to be a head coach. So that was going to happen. The other thing it kind of told me was, I think we still are going to have Vic for another couple years, at least. Yeah. Because that's, to me, that just shows you Vic's going to be here for, a couple more years here, at least.
Because you would think he would have been the succession plan, right? Yeah.
Again, that's my thought on that.
Yeah. I agree.
Again, now, I could be wrong, but that's just kind of the two of the thoughts that I had. Like, I knew they were going to lose him. It sucks to lose him to Dallas because now you got to see him.
That's the problem.
And if he succeeds, it means Dallas's defense is going to be pretty good, which it's not something you want to see. But he was a good coach.
I wonder. There's two things. I wonder if he pulls a Gannon and grabs a bunch of free agents like Blankenship and N'Kobe to run that defense. The other thing is, I saw this probably from 15 beat writers. I'll be interested to see who slides into that spot, if that's going to be Casper, or if a guy like Bobby Knight. Is it Bobby Knight? Bobby King.
Bobby King.
Bobby Knight's the basketball coach.
Yeah, I'm like, Bobby Knight's.
Yeah, Bobby Knight's dead, right? Yeah, Bobby King. I wonder if Bobby King takes that like assistant defensive coordinator role, that like right hand man to Vic. It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out and how.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a guy like Clint Hurtt.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see who they replace him with.
He's just so good. The natural flow there screams Casper to me.
It does. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring a veteran in there too. Ronaldo Hill's a guy that worked with Vic in Miami. A really respected former NFL defensive back, a respected coach.
Maybe he slides in as a safeties coach and Casper goes into that defensive pass game.
Yeah. I could definitely see something there. So there's
interesting
stuff to be ironed out when it comes to when it comes to that, of course, same as the offensive coordinator spot.
And who on the offensive side, if you're an offensive coordinator, or if you're Howie, and you're like, hey, Mr. Offensive Coordinator, Declan, come on in. You can bring your own staff in. Like, we'll obviously help you vet it. But these coaches are off limits. Who are your offensive coaches that are off limits?
I would say Stout.
Yep.
Would be off limits.
Yep.
I would say Singleton. I know that's kind of
really.
I would say to me, I think quarterbacks coach. I think you may see Loeffler leave if that's the case, or maybe get bumped up to a different position.
Yeah. Interesting.
Trying to think who else. I think Moorhead's gone. Like, they need to bring another receivers coach in here.
Moorhead should have been gone years ago.
Like the other guys, I think the other guys stay. I think he may bring, like, offensive coordinator may bring in his own quarterbacks coach, may bring his own receivers coach. He may bring in a running backs coach, or maybe the Eagles then bring in, like I was saying, with like a Matt Nagy, if he doesn't get an offensive coordinator position, they may bring him in as essentially a pass game coordinator or
assistant head coach kind of thing.
Some type of to have someone who's called plays to, give you a little bit of something there.
Yeah, I could see that with even Frank Reich.
I wouldn't be mad about that either.
I think there will be. My assumption is that there will be some sort of guardrail on Sirianni this year. That there will be some sort of senior advisor that has been a head coach and that could easily take the reins if they're like, you know what, enough, and they have to pull the plug. That's my assumption. My assumption is that there will be a contingency / guardrail put on Sirianni in some way, shape, or form in a veteran coach. And to answer my own question, the only two I would say are off limits are Loeffler and Stout. I think Loeffler being kept as a quarterback coach, the way that Jalen Hurts spoke about him and his impact, and the way that he spoke with him in Hard Knocks, I think that continuity would be super important regardless of who the OC is.
I can agree with you with that. Like, you want continuity somewhere, and if it's in the quarterback room with the quarterback coach, or like,
why not? Why not the number one position, right?
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm okay with that. And if it's just those two guys, I'm okay with that as well. So we'll see. I think there's going to be some changes. We'll see that. We'll see a change on the defensive side of the ball see what kind of either safeties coach, a defensive backs coach, whatever it may be, they do there. Yeah. We're going to see that as well. So it's going to be interesting. The other thing I do like, and we'll talk about it, of course, in the future here when it comes to draft and everything, it is cool to see Clint Hurt and, Singleton is there too. And a couple of Eagles are actually at the Senior Bowl. They're going to be coaching, and basically Clint Hurt's the head coach of the one national team. Jamel Singleton's the offensive coordinator. So they're going to get a great look at some of these prospects. And the Eagles always love to take a handful of guys, a few guys from the Senior Bowl when they draft. So it's good to, Senior Bowl. Yeah. So it's good to have, those guys in the trenches, working with these kids and seeing kind of that I don't know.
I'd be interested maybe we should do some digging on how that gets selected, because having your defensive line coach with a pretty top heavy edge class is interesting.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm okay with
and
it.
I wonder if Singleton being there as part of the Eagles is an indication that he's staying on. That's interesting. I forgot about that.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. The All-Star games are underway, and the practices and everything like that. You had the American Bowl last night. You have the East-West Shrine game this weekend. You have next weekend the Senior Bowl. So all that's coming into play here. And then you're, of course, going to have the Combine in about a month here. So there's a lot.
And then free agency in about a month and a half.
Yeah, like 40 days. So
love it.
It's coming up. It's coming up. So a lot more to talk about. Hopefully we'll have some more info and maybe a offensive coordinator as we come on next week. But want to always thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure that you're hitting the subscribe and you're liking the content. Make sure you're following. Everything is down at the bottom there. Hit the link tree as well. But want to also say, it wasn't the greatest 2025. That's why we're on to 26 here, hopefully for some fun times there. But just make sure that you're checking everything out. Anything, you can always send us messages and stuff like that. We appreciate every single one of you that tune in and interact with us on the socials. Absolutely love it.
Keep those comments coming during the pods too.
Yeah, we like the comments too. It's some awesome stuff. We like to be interactive. That's the name of the game. And with that, as we always end it with a very happy and joyful Go Birds!
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.